Welcome back everyone to Pineleaf Previews, where today we will preview the first build for Update 22, which includes a new region up in the northern lands for the northern kingdoms, such as in the Wood of the Green Leaves and also up in Dale, Erebor, and Lake Town, the region. But first we are going to have a look at the latest musical instrument to be added to the LOTRO music system, the fiddle. They are adding 4 different types of fiddles. The one you just heard was the basic fiddle, and each of these 4 types are distinct in their sound. Now there are going to be some fiddles that are going to have a different look but use one of the styles of sound from these. What I'm showing here are ones that have distinct sounds to them. That was the basic one, which has the standard violin sound. So now we'll go to the Lonely Mountain fiddle, which is going to have a vibrato style to it. So let's have a look at this and see how it differs. The third type of fiddle that we have is the sprightly fiddle. This is one that plays in a staccato style. There we go. That one is the staccato version of it. There is a 4th type, and that is the pizzicato style, which is by the Traveler's Trusty fiddle. The Traveler's Trusty one is purchased through Anniversary Coins, so obviously they're planning on that as part of the Anniversary event, which is going to be at some time, I guess, in April most likely. So therefore you'll need to have Anniversary Coins in order to be able to do that. I presume I could have gone into the Isengard Inn and gotten some coins that way, but I just showed the ones that are purchasable through standard gold. So those are the types of fiddles that are available. I should note that the animations are only available currently on a limited number of race/gender combinations. They're definitely on the human males, since that's the race that I used for here, but they're not available on the human female or the hobbit female. So I don't know what it's going to be like for the elves, whether it's going to be following the same pattern, male versus female, or if it's only the human male that currently has it. But that is the update to the music system, adding the fiddle. But of course, we also have other things coming in this update. The first thing you'll notice upon loading is that they've changed the character selection screen. They now have a new style for all of the buttons, and the Enter Middle Earth one, it really has the ring glowing gold there to attract your eye to it. And for the race of man, the background is now Minas Tirith. So that's a little bit of a change. They've also changed the backgrounds for the elves. Right here. And they've also changed the area for the dwarves. I don't have any dwarves on Bull Roarer, but you could, of course, can also see the new dwarf one by going into the Create Character screen. There you go. So therefore, we have 3 races now that have new character selection backgrounds. The ones for the hobbits, the high elves, and the Bjornings, though, will remain unchanged. Here we are at the water gate for the Elven Stronghold in Mirkwood. And here we've got this empty apple barrel that requires friends standing to use. I'm wondering if that's a port to Lake Town or what, because what else are you going to do with an empty apple barrel? Right next to this unusable trapdoor, but I suppose that if you put yourself and hide yourself in the apple barrel, you could wind up being tossed into the river. I'm thinking that's how to get back. So that's a little nod to the Hobbit on how they escaped there, apparently. I won't test that out, though, until we get to live. And here in Lake Town, apparently they have a queue for the privy. Keep that in mind when you are visiting Lake Town. And here we are at the old city of Lake Town, and we have the bones of a dragon here, which is, I presume, is the last remains of Schmog. And of course, beneath it is the last remains of the old city. They built the new city down there, so it's close to it. And unfortunately, for some reason, Black Numenorians have made camp all over the area. Whew. So therefore, yes, if you want to visit Smog's graveyard, this is the place to come. And in the waters between the old and new towns, we have a nice view of Erebor, the Lonely Mountain. And yes, I could see its name from there because it is, right, doesn't have any other peaks nearby to it, though I do wonder what all that is. But I think those are just nearby hills rather than any large mountains that may be near Erebor. Here we are at the entrance to Dale, which is the next of the towns that we'll be visiting. And this is, of course, the town of Men that was restored by Bard after he managed to take care of a certain dragon, whose bones we saw earlier. So now this is then finally an opportunity to see Dale without being inside of an instance. I wonder what it looks like inside. And here we are at the entrance to Erebor. Obviously, dwarves all over the place, dwarven motifs. It reminds me a little bit of Thorn's Hall, probably because Thorn's Hall was built by exiles from the Lonely Mountain. Ooh, but what does it look like inside? I know we've seen it in the inside from the affiliation storyline, but we might as well have a look inside how it looks when you're not in the instance. And if you did the allegiance quest for the dwarves, this should look very familiar. And in fact, we've got the same guards here. We've got the allegiance dailies over here. The goat back to Mordor. So therefore, yes, it is the Allegiance Hall. So therefore, if you've done the Allegiance quest for the dwarves, the quickest way to Erebor is to just use your Allegiance port. That's nice and convenient. Another little change they have is on the Instance Finder, where they changed the launch button for the specific skirmish. So some slight redecoration on the Instance Finder, though the main buttons themselves are unchanged. Now I'm going to run a Tier 1 skirmish at 106. You say, why am I going to be doing that? Because rumor has it that they've finally fixed 106 through 114 skirmishes, and let's see if they're finally dropping stuff. It is now the end of the skirmish. Now let's see if there's anything in the chest for us. And inside we find a fused iron relic and a bounty, which means yes, you are finally getting the rewards in the skirmish. Yay! So that 6-month-old bug is finally taken care of. Here we are in Forlaw, and I wanted to show you that they changed the task collections box here at Forlaw, and this is the new style of box that they'll be using at all zones starting at Rohan. And the idea here is that these task collection boxes can collect any task from level 65 all the way up to cap. So therefore, if you picked up a task in Gondor and you had to be in Forlaw when you needed to turn it in, you could just drop it in here and you would get full credit for it. Yes, I know that's rather strange with there, but that's the way that's going to work from now on. You don't have to be in the same zone. Now, I should note that if you are in Dunland, they do not have the new boxes next to the Dunland ones because that's before Rohan. But since some of those tasks there are level 65, the level 65 ones will be accepted by this box. So if you had one in Dunland and you needed to turn it in here, you could go here and pick it in. You could drop it in as a housing neighborhood or at any of the locations where you have one of these 65 to cap task collection boxes. I decided to up my rep a little bit, and now let us see what happens when I click this barrel. And the result is I get ported out into the Indale lands at the landing point of a barrel. And this is most interesting. This concludes my first preview into the updates at update 22. If there are any other significant updates that are introduced in the Borer builds between now and release, I shall have a look into them then. But until then, this is Pineleaf reminding you to quest responsibly.